I'm wondering were there any kind of environmentalists or kind of role models that or books you've read or documentaries that you've seen which have really kind of like switched a light on for you or really made you think about that? I'm just wondering if you have any kind of heroes in the kind of environment space that you can think of.
Yeah, so the first person who like came straight to my mind was Wangari Maathai. So she, so you might have heard of her. She's like Kenya's Jeb when it comes to being at the forefront of environmentalism. I mean, I think she helped save one of our current like hugest parks in the middle of the city center, literally, from being developed into office buildings. And she was able to get like the Nobel Peace Prize for her work because she didn't just do like work with environmentalism, but she also like tried to find a way for it to intersect with women's rights as well. And she had like biographies about her work. There's quite a bit of things that she's been able to achieve. She achieved in her lifetime, the late Wangari Maathai. And then I think from there on, I think as obviously with social media being more prevalent these days and more significant, there's a lot more different like eco influencers or climate activists that you can follow their work on social media. So I think I've been able to use those people as inspiration for the kind of work that I want to put down, like kind of what my environmental focus the kind of environmental focus I'd like to zero in on. But I definitely attribute my inspiration to Wangari Maathai. I think that's one of the biggest inspiration for me, and continues to be so.
Yeah, she's fantastic, and I think it's Penguin have just released a whole range of books of different sort of inspiring figures in the environmental movement. They're quite short, sort of less than 100 pages, and I just picked up the Wangari Maathai one. I haven't started it yet, but looking forward to sort of reading that because it's been a while since I've engaged with her stuff. You sort of talked about whether you'd of finding kind of specific areas in the environment or issues within it that you're kind of focusing in on as your interest areas. Do you feel like you've identified those yet, and kind of do you see within the environmental movement GAP being a place where you can pursue your sort of passionate area?
I think having worked in my role now and the project that I've worked with, I've gotten a lot more passionate about education and sustainable, like environmental education. And that's something that I can see myself definitely taking with me into the project that I'd work on in the future. So I don't think we see a lot of that in Kenyan education, and there's definitely a lot of space for that as well, which is something I'd definitely like to take home with me. And then one particular aspect about sustainability and environment that I do feel very passionate about is sustainable development. I think it looks at that aspect of, it's very close to, I think when you look at the post-consumerism movement and look at like the day-to-day lifestyles that we hold as people, I think that could easily, feed into sustainable development and how developing countries can sort of get to where they need to be, or like improve certain aspects of, let's say, of the different systems in place to, sort of benefit the planet and benefit people's well-being and welfare, so that no one's really losing out. The planet isn't losing out, and we as people are not losing out. So I feel like I'm starting to see like the smaller issues. I feel like with sustainable development, sorry, I'm waffling a bit, but with sustainable development it's sort of on a macro level, but working at GAP, I'm able to look at the micro factors that do affect sustainability and how we live our lifestyles and how it affects communities and our culture as well. So I think those are the interesting things that I'm able to pick up at GAP in the work that we do.
Yeah, I think the post-consumerism stuff is fascinating. It's one of the things which really drew me into GAP as well, to sort of that there's an understanding there that the root causes of climate change, of the nature crises, it comes back to overconsumption of natural resources, but also overconsumption by quite an actual small percentage of the global population. The sort of the top sort of 10% are using way more than anybody ever has in the course of history. Let alone when you look at the global picture.